Hello friends. Yesterday or last week, I think last week, I bought one TV. Last week I bought one TV. Okay. So the installation is successfully completed. After that, while using the TV, I got some problems. I don't know the reason. Every time some flickering is happening. Okay, then what shall I do? As usually I call to this on soon customer care service. Okay sir, we will send our executive to look into that issue. Okay, that guy came and resolved the problem successfully. Then again I started using the TV. Again, yesterday I called to customer care service. Madam, I need this option or I need that option. Madam, is there any option like this? Or if I need like this, what shall I do? So I am asking such a questions. So can you please send the customer care executive, that service executive person, can you please send it to my house? Then they said, sir, we will not send it. Okay. So actually, there is no problem in your TV, but you are asking some help or you are asking some options are there or not. For such a things, we will not take it your request into a consideration. And okay, but we will suggest you, already we have provided a very good manual. Okay, if you go through that manual, you can find the answers or you can find the solutions for all these options, whatever you ask now. So there is a manual, there is a beautiful manual. Okay, and not only one manual, there are different types of manuals along with your TV. We sent it when you are purchased. Okay, please go through that manual. Okay, then what I did, I started exploring the manual. I started completely exploring the manual. Then I found, okay, there is an option here when you adjust this one, or in this way, you can connect your TV to so and so device, etc. Blah blah blah. Finally, like this. Good. So now one of my client is asking, Suresh, I need this requirement. So is there any possibility to implement this requirement in Pega? Then immediately, sir, this requirement is related to the JavaScript. Again, we need to write some JavaScript here, and we need to see the connection between the JavaScript and Pega. JavaScript and Pega, but I'm not sure. I have to explore it again. Then immediately this guy is also called to the customer care, created a Pega SR. Then they said that no, there is an option, you have to explore yourself. If you go through that PDN documentation and you can implement it, because we won't help us, right? How can we help you to write a code? If there is any problem, if there is any issue with the product, we can help you, otherwise we cannot. Okay. Why I raised this concern here is, Pega is a BPM tool. The domain is BPM, Business Process Management Tool. What type of tool it is? First category is Pega is a web application. Pega is a one web application. Someone developed a web application and it is given to you and you started using that tool. That is first one. Using that tool, you are designing something for your requirements. So first thing is, Pega is a web application tool. Next, what type of web application it is? If you see Amazon.com, that is e-commerce web application. If you see Facebook.com, that is a social networking web application. And if you see the PayPal, that is a payment gateway web application. And if you can see this Pega, it is a business process management tool web application. And if there is a Documentum, that is a content management tool. So the domain or a category or the purpose or the functionality, what this tool can do, this is the purpose. Okay, Gmail is also a web application. It can provides the mailing functionality to send or receive, etc. Now, just come back to the previous what we discussed. Pega is a web application. So, web application is always combination of two things. So, one is a client side, another one is a server side. One is a client side, another one is a server side. So that's why client side and server side, each and every web application, because again, I don't want to talk about client side and server side. Web application, so web application is nothing but a collection of web pages. So again, web page is a two types. So one is a static web page, another one is a dynamic web page. For example, I need one website or I need a one web application for just for my company to just display the one home page and the about us page, because there is no dynamic content here. Dynamic means always it will be changed time to time. Dynamics means in the physics, also there is a concept called it as dynamics, means what why they call it as a dynamics. Now the position is like this at the situation is like this at current time interval. Now that situation is different at the another time interval. That is called it as a dynamic. Simple. Client side and server side, again that is another concept. If it is a dynamic web page means the content will be fetched from the server side. If it is a static website, always the content will be available on the client side. Content will be available on the client side. So nowadays, each and every web application is a dynamic web application. That means every web application contains email functionalities, chat functionalities. There are a lot of other functionalities and share functionalities, etc. Okay, so nowadays most of the web applications are dynamic web applications. Dynamic web applications means I'll come to that point. First, I want to develop one website. I want to develop one website. How do you develop one website? How do you create a one web page? Remember this point, without HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, without these technologies, there is no web page in the universe. There is no web page in the universe. There is no website in the universe without HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Okay. Now, this is nothing but a client-side technologies. Ultimately, these HTML, JavaScript, and CSS will be interpreted by the browser. Your browser. Maybe you can take Chrome, Edge, Safari, etc. There are a lot of browsers in the market. You can choose any one of the browser based on that browser version. Based on that, so it will parse these HTML, JavaScript, and CSS code. This is nothing but a client side. And if it is a static web application, these technologies will be sufficient. But if it is a dynamic web application, that means if you want to implement the email functionality, if you want to implement the payment gateway functionality, for which there are a lot of features, if you want to implement the file processing, etc., you need one server side technology. Server side means that code will be secured, because otherwise everyone will look into your code if it is a client side. That's why we call it as a server side technology. Lot of topmost technologies which are available in the market for server side, like .NET, Java, J2E, servlets, okay, .NET, PHP, Python, Ruby on Rails, Cold Fusion, Salesforce. Yes, there are a lot of technologies. There are a lot of technologies in the market for server side. Now I have chosen here Java J2E. Java J2EE. Finally, I designed one web application with a dynamic web application. Finally, I developed one dynamic web application. So this web application contains, as I told you, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Without this, there is no web application first. To secure logic, to develop or to implement the business functionality, to sending an email, to process payment gateway, to process credit card, to process database transactions, to process file handling, etc. I have chosen Java J2E. Ultimately, my logic is in the Java J2E. Combination of these two, interaction between these two, finally your web application is ready. your web application is ready. Okay, similarly, now our Pega web application is also like that only. Here HTML, JavaScript and CSS plus what is your server side technology? Java and JSP and servlets. Okay, we call it as a J2EE. We call it as a J2EE Java 2 Enterprise Edition. Okay. Anyhow, as a Pega developer, we no need to worry of all these things. As a Pega developer, we no need to worry of all these things. We only understand the what is Pega and what is the behavior of the Pega, what is the architecture of the Pega, what is the nativity of the Pega. I mean, how the Pega can work, how Pega can process, how in the Pega, how we can design our requirement, etc. We don't want to dig into the how Pega is implemented, how Pega is implemented internally. So how Pega is processing internally. But okay, if you are interested, you can go ahead, no problem. But we never do that. We never do that, right? But okay, I have to design one form means immediately I want to go and create a section there. I have to implement the some drag and drop layouts and drag and drop controls, etc. That's it. But up to that only we learn Pega, we learn. So then everyone will ask you, okay, how do you design a form in your Pega applications? Yes, we can. There is a way. You have a section. In that section you can just include one layout. There is a drag and drop, then your form will be ready. Okay, up to this learning sounds good, but I just want to suggest you. I just want to suggest you. It is not a mandatory. Again, I'm telling you. I just want to suggest you to explore some technologies which are behind the Pega. Some technologies which are behind the Pega application. Why? Because always, is there anything wrong? Is there anything wrong to explore about the TV? It will be useful for you whenever there is some problem occurred. Then it will be useful for you. You no need to depends upon the product owners. Similarly, here also there is some requirements client has given. If the client has given, if the requirements are related to the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, what shall I do? Because I don't know these technologies. Even if you create a section also internally, HTML code will be generated by the Pega. Again, client will ask you, what is this design, boss? I don't like this design. Okay, I need some colorful, etc. etc. What shall I do? Client is asking more user friendly and beautiful, responsive forms. Client is asking, yes, there are the futures are available in Pega also for each and everything. But somewhere, if you need to change or if you want to go for the customization, if you know this HTML and if you know this styling technology CSS, it will be easy for you, right? Usually Pega UI developers will take care of it, but nowadays in the real time also the developers has to take care of these UI related things, and even if the clients are asking more user friendly, like more you look and feel and so on features, at least you have to understand, right, what is HTML and what is CSS and what is JavaScript. No? I am not saying you should become a expert of the web. I'm not saying you should become a expert of the web. I'm just saying explore the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. What is the importance of these skills or these technologies for the Pega application? Is it really required or not? Is it really required or not? Definitely it is not at all required as per the Pega. I completely agree with you. But is there anything wrong to explore these skills? Nothing. If you have a time, if you have a curiosity, what is happening internally, because Pega is providing the sections, automatically code will be generated, HTML code will be generated. So then what is the purpose of learning the HTML? Leave it. And Pega having the concept of beautiful skin concept, formats and mixins. Then what is the purpose of learning the cascading style sheets? Leave it. Then there is no point of Pega has an inbuilt JavaScript. libraries and inbuilt JavaScript files. Then what is the purpose of learning the JavaScript code? And Pega has inbuilt JavaScript APIs also. Then what is the purpose of learning the JavaScript? Leave it. Okay. Then unfortunately, I have a one requirement. I want to access one Pega property in my client side, code, in my client side code. That means in the JavaScript code. I don't know JavaScript. What shall I do? Okay. Now, one of my previous video, I have explained about the custom controls. See, internally, everything is depends upon this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for the client side only, because even these mixins and formats are generating the CSS code itself internally. CSS code internally. And you don't know all your validations, client side validations, when you on click event, on change event, all these, for all these purposes, JavaScript code is already written by the JavaScript code will be written by the Pega internally. Why I am saying in this video is, why I am making this video is just for awareness purpose. Just for awareness purpose, please explore when you have a time HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Even some people are already aware of these, but some people may not be aware of. Is that required really? Why should we learn this HTML, CSS, JavaScript? It's not required. There is no use of learning these technologies in Pega. 100% agree with you. So is there anything wrong to learn? Is there anything wrong to explore? It will be useful for you. So go to the records, go to the user interface, go to the section. If you open any section, if you open any section, loan detail submission, go to the HTML. See this one, auto generated HTML. The HTML code for this design will be automatically generated by the Pega. Now go to actions, run. Your section will be displayed like this. Execute. This section I am executing. View page source. Ultimately HTML code. Ultimately HTML code. This one complete HTML code generated by the Pega internally. Then what is the purpose of this HTML code? No purpose, no use. But is there anything wrong to explore? If you explore the HTML and JavaScript and CSS, right? Similarly, I'll show you one more thing. I already explained about some custom controls, right? So go to any of the custom controls, or if the client is asking create your own control, I need such a type of control. There you need to write some HTML code. You need to write some HTML code. Go to the records, user interface, controls, convert to uppercase control, etc. See this one, PX code editor or PY attachment feed description. You can open any of the custom control, because people are already aware of these technologies, but I am just giving the importance of, but I am just saying the importance of these technologies, importance of these technologies. So okay, going forward, even not only going forward, nowadays also, earlier is different. Earlier people are not worried about all these skills, But nowadays, a lot of interactions. Clients are asking super features. I need this, I need that, etc. What shall we do? Not only exploring the Pega is not sufficient in my aspect. I mean, okay, you know the application creation, you know the class structure, architecture, etc. Everything you know, and you need to explore these as well. Okay, see here. Okay, now you have used this client side control, you have used this custom control, so there is some issue is came, then what shall I do? What is this anchor a, what is this title, etc., hyperlink on click, what is this pega ui harness do attachment single click, where is this function is available, etc. So if you know the html, okay, it will be easy for you to understand anything. If anything went wrong, if anything went wrong, you can easily correct it. If you want, you can customize it, right? You can save as into your rule set version, you can customize it. For this, you cannot create an sr also, because they won't help you always. They won't help you always. Okay, so that's why I'm just suggesting you, if you have a time also, just what is use of html, what is html, what are the dom elements, document object model element, what is these are the options, etc. Now now what is meant by the skins, what is meant by the css? Okay, each and every application is having the built-in skin rule, right? Because the moment application is created, pega is created a one skin rule for you. One skin rule for you. Open your skin rule. Okay, inherited, etc. All these are pega terminology. But ultimately, the internal technology is css. The internal technology is css. Even though, even though sometime, okay, somehow we cannot cover the internal technologies. So almost we will introduce our own terminology, our own terminology, but at certain point of time we have to tell how this was implemented. This was implemented using the cascading style sheet. See, that's why included styles. Okay, again, everywhere there is an option custom. If you want to customize it, then your technology will be useful for you during the customization. Additional style sheets. So what is this style sheets? Okay, there are some lot of style sheets, right? Just selecting any one of the style sheets, for example this one. Okay, open the style sheets. Okay, if you want to write your custom style, because if there is no such an option, you have to write your own style, right? What is the css, what is the css syntax, what is this element, what is this one, what is this comma, etc., why semicolon is required, what is this curly braces. So that's why just explore css as well when you have a time. Explore css when you have a time. Okay, now just now we have explored, right? What is this one, what is this one, where on click, pega.ui.harness.do attachment, single click, where is this function is available, what is this, is it a java function or a javascript function, is it a java function or javascript function? Okay, it must be a javascript function because this client said, right? Okay, now where is that JavaScript files are available? Where is that JavaScript files are available? What is a JavaScript? What is a client side? How can I do the client side validation? So how can I display the pop-up? How can I display the error messages on the client side? What? How the JavaScript can be executed? How can I write the JavaScript? Usually not required. Usually you no need to explore. But if there is a requirement, if there is such a situation is came in your business requirements, what shall we do? There is no other option. You have to explore yourself and you have to implement it. And if you have a in your team with the javascripts are experts, okay, no problem. People knows javascript, agree. But why don't you become an expert? I mean, why don't you become, uh, I mean, even why don't you become such a person? Such a person in the sense, okay, he knows also JavaScript. Okay, uh, go to your web applications. For example, go to harness. There are a lot of JavaScript files, right? Okay, go to harness. How to write a JavaScript? Where do we include the JavaScript? Okay, for example, this is insurance claim harness. Usually, we will include the harnesses in JavaScript file. See this one, script and styles. I already explained about in my one of the video user interface long back, but it was in Telugu language, Telugu and English language. And see, and there is a lot of JavaScript files open. What is this JavaScript code? You no need to understand all these existing JavaScript files. That's what I'm saying. But you are in a position to write at least a simple few lines of JavaScript code if it is required. If it is required. See, what is this one function? Document dot. What is this one? At least you need to understand the basic syntax. You need to understand the basic syntax. Okay. Okay, every time Pega will help you, but don't even, I am saying also, Pega will not help you always. Again, Pega will help you definitely, but Pega will not always help you for each and every your requirement. Pega will suggest you, okay, you need to write some JavaScript code here, we can achieve that using the JavaScript here. Okay, then who will write the JavaScript? Pega won't write the JavaScript. For your business requirement, how Pega can write the JavaScript? Pega can write the JavaScript for their product requirements for Pega. So you have to explore the JavaScript. So why I am making this video use just for awareness purpose. Just for awareness purpose. When you have a time, see, nowadays people are talking about the React JS. What is React JS? That is a JavaScript library. That is a JavaScript library. Even we don't know the HTML, JavaScript, CSS. How can we learn the React JS? And what is the interaction? What is the relation between this React JS and this JavaScript, etc. So the importance of the HTML and CSS and JavaScript is there for your business applications as well. But when you have a time, okay, just please explore these skills as well for your purpose. But I am saying it is not 100%, but okay, if you are walking daily, okay, your health will be good. But daily walking is not a mandatory. Daily walking is not a mandatory. Okay, definitely, if you walk, your heart will be good. But okay, I'm just saying, similarly, if you explore the things, if you learn something, you have a knowledge. Otherwise, you don't have a knowledge. That's it. Two things. Okay. So, just for your awareness purpose, when you have a time, okay, just learn some HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So, because sometimes we need such requirements also, there we can easily customize it. At least we can understand the existing things also. Thank you so much.